Title: Travis Kelce in tears of joy. Taylor Swift's dad accepts his wedding proposal. Travis Kelce was nervous, and that was a rare feeling for the NFL superstar. Known for his swagger on and off the field, Travis faced his biggest challenge yet, not in a stadium, but in the cozy living room of Scott Swift, Taylor Swift's father. The two had bonded over sports and music in the past, but tonight was different. Travis had a diamond ring burning a hole in his pocket, and his heart was racing faster than it did during a Super Bowl game. As he stepped into the room, he noticed Scott sitting comfortably in an armchair, a glass of scotch in hand, with the subtle calm of a man who had seen everything. "Mr. Swift," Travis began, his voice uncharacteristically shaky, "thank you for letting me come over tonight. I wanted to talk to you about something really important." Scott raised an eyebrow, already sensing what was coming but enjoying Travis's uncharacteristic nervousness. "Go on, son," he said with a smirk. Travis took a deep breath and knelt on one knee, not to propose directly to Scott but as a gesture of sincerity. "I love Taylor more than I can put into words. She's my everything, my teammate for life. I want to spend the rest of my days making her as happy as she's made me. So, Mr. Swift, I'm here to ask for your blessing to marry your daughter." The room fell silent. For a moment, Travis feared he might have overdone the dramatics. Then Scott leaned forward, setting his glass on the table. "Travis," he began, his tone measured, "I've always appreciated the way you treat Taylor, not just as a partner but as someone who genuinely understands her world. You've proven yourself to be a man of character, on and off the field. And I've seen how happy you make my daughter. So yes, you have my blessing." The words hit Travis like a touchdown in overtime. His eyes filled with tears, and he quickly wiped them away, chuckling. "I'm sorry, sir, I didn't think I'd get this emotional." Scott laughed heartily. "Travis, if you didn't, I'd be worried. Welcome to the family, son." As the two men embraced, the door to the living room swung open, and Taylor appeared, her face lit up with a mixture of curiosity and joy. "What's going on here?" Travis turned to her, his smile as wide as ever. "Just talking to your dad, babe." Taylor's eyes darted between the two, realizing what had just happened. She ran to Travis, wrapping her arms around him as tears of her own began to flow. "Wait," she teased, pulling back slightly, "did you actually cry, Mr. Tough Guy?" Travis laughed through his emotions. "Only because your dad said yes." The room erupted in laughter, and the three of them sat together, celebrating the beginning of a new chapter in Taylor and Travis's love story. The next day, as Taylor's fans speculated wildly about a cryptic Instagram post from her dad featuring a football and a diamond emoji, the couple knew they'd just scored the ultimate win. A future together, blessed by family. Title: Travis Kelce in tears of joy after Taylor Swift's dad accepts his wedding proposal. It was a crisp autumn afternoon, and Travis Kelce was pacing nervously outside a grand mansion tucked away in the heart of Nashville. He had everything planned. His suit was perfectly tailored, the diamond ring was in his pocket, and the setting was ideal. But there was one thing, one person, he needed to win over more than anyone else: Taylor Swift's dad, Scott Swift. As the Super Bowl champion had learned, asking for the approval of a father was no small task, especially when the father in question was as protective and thoughtful as Scott. Travis had always admired Scott for his warmth and grounded nature, but today, he wasn't just meeting his girlfriend's dad, he was asking for something big. Taylor Swift had already agreed to marry him, of course. They had talked about their future together countless times, sharing dreams of building a life full of love, adventure, and, knowing Taylor, a lot of spontaneous trips to obscure coffee shops. But Travis knew that the blessing of Taylor's family was crucial. Scott had always been her rock, and Travis couldn't imagine starting this new chapter without him on board. The door creaked open, and Scott appeared, wearing his signature casual yet refined style. "You ready for this, son?" he asked with a warm smile that eased Travis's nerves, just a little. "I think so," Travis said, exhaling deeply. "But I won't feel completely ready until I know you're with me on this." Scott chuckled, his eyes glinting with affection. "Well, I've seen how much you love Taylor. And anyone who loves my daughter that much deserves my respect." Travis's heart began to race. This was it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the ring, holding it between his fingers like it was the most precious thing he owned. "Mr. Swift, Scott, I love Taylor more than anything in this world. I promise to make her smile every day, protect her, and be the man she deserves for the rest of our lives. Will you give me your blessing to marry her?" Scott's gaze softened, and for a moment, the weight of the question seemed to hang in the air. Then, with a smile that could melt even the hardest of hearts, Scott placed a hand on Travis's shoulder. "Travis, you've already proven yourself to be a good man in so many ways. But what's more important is that I see the way you make her happy. And that's all a father really wants for his daughter. You've got my blessing, son. Welcome to the family." Travis's eyes welled up with tears of joy, relief, and the overwhelming emotion of knowing that he was about to marry the woman he loved and have the full support of her family. He blinked them away quickly, but the smile on his face said it all. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I promise you won't regret this." As the two men embraced, Taylor appeared from the doorway, having watched the entire exchange from behind the curtain. She rushed to Travis's side, throwing her arms around him. "What's going on? Why is he crying?" she teased, her smile wide. Travis couldn't help but laugh, wiping the last of the tears from his eyes. "Because I just got the best blessing I could ever ask for." And just like that, Travis Kelce knew that the next chapter of his life was about to begin, and it was going to be even more magical than he had ever imagined. With Taylor by his side and her family's blessing in his heart, he was ready to face whatever the future held. Title: Travis Kelce in tears of joy after Taylor Swift's dad accepts his wedding proposal, *. It was a crisp fall evening in Nashville, the kind of night that felt straight out of a country song. Taylor Swift had invited Travis Kelce to spend the weekend with her and her family, and tonight was special. It wasn't just the star-studded dinner or the twinkling lights of the Swift family home, but something much more significant. Travis had spent the last few months imagining this moment, the moment he would ask for Taylor's hand in marriage. He had already won over her heart, but winning over her family, especially her father, was a different kind of challenge. Scott Swift was a man of few words but powerful presence, and Travis knew that earning his approval was just as important as earning Taylor's love. Earlier that day, Travis had taken Taylor aside, pulling her into a quiet corner of the house. His nerves were running high as he held the small velvet box in his hand. "Taylor," he began, his voice trembling just a little, "I don't just want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want your family to know how much I love you, too." With a smile that could light up any room, Taylor kissed him lightly on the cheek. "You're sweet, Travis, but my dad is, well, he's not exactly a softie." Travis chuckled nervously. "I'll take my chances." Later that evening, after dinner, Taylor's dad, Scott, had quietly invited Travis into his study. The two men sat across from each other, the weight of the moment pressing down. Travis had tried to remain calm, but his palms were sweating. He had planned this moment carefully, wanting to make it perfect, and he had one simple question for the man who meant so much to Taylor. "Mr. Swift, sir," Travis began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I know you love your daughter more than anything, and I want to respect that. I've asked myself countless times if I'm worthy of her, and all I can say is that I'll spend every day trying to prove I am. I want to ask for your blessing to marry her. I want to be part of your family, now and forever." There was a long pause. Travis's heart raced as he looked into Scott's eyes, unsure of what was coming next. The silence seemed to stretch on for eternity. Scott leaned back in his chair, studying him carefully, his gaze never leaving Travis's face. Finally, with a slow nod, Scott spoke. "I've seen the way you treat my daughter. I've seen the way she lights up when you're around. Any man who loves her the way you do, who respects her the way you do, has my blessing." Travis blinked, the words barely registering. "Wait, what?" Scott smiled, his stern demeanor softening. "You have my blessing, Travis. Taylor deserves someone who will make her as happy as you make her. Welcome to the family." Travis felt his world shift in that instant. The tears came unexpectedly, blurring his vision as he sat there, unable to believe what he was hearing. He had always dreamed of this moment, but never in his wildest dreams did he think it would feel this real, this beautiful. When he returned to the family room, his eyes were red, but his heart was soaring. Taylor, noticing the look on his face, immediately walked up to him. "Travis, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice full of concern. With a deep breath, Travis pulled out the velvet box, this time with the ring inside. "Taylor, I love you more than words can say. And now I have your dad's blessing." Tears welled up in Taylor's eyes as she stared at him, taking in the weight of what had just happened. "Are you serious?" she whispered. With a smile that matched her own, Travis knelt on one knee in front of her, holding the ring out to her. "Taylor Swift, will you marry me?" Taylor's answer came without hesitation, her voice trembling with emotion as she whispered, "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." The room erupted in applause as everyone gathered around them, but for Travis and Taylor, the world felt like it had slowed down to a perfect, serene moment. Travis, in tears of joy, could hardly believe how perfect everything had turned out. He had the woman of his dreams and the approval of the man who mattered most. In that moment, surrounded by friends and family, he knew that his life had just begun its most beautiful chapter.